Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vacharam pangam langyate gireham kripatamaham vande Shri Gurudina Taranam Paramanandam Madhavam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunavadi Paschadeshatarane. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachanam pangam langyate girim yakrapatamam vande Shri Gurudina Dharanam Paramanandam Madhavam. Shri Guru Paramananda Premananda Kulaprada Vrajananda Pradhananda Sevayam Manojaya. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you once again for joining. So we will continue with the group presentations. I'm excited, looking forward to the summation of the subsequent verses.
Yeah, so we will start with group 5.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, done with Pranam. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
First of all, I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas here so that whatever I present, it is somehow pleasing to all of you and the Lord. And kindly forgive me if there are mistakes, and please feel free to provide my feedback. In the 20 minutes, I will be first of all trying to present what has been assigned to us as a team, sorry. And then for the 5 minutes, I will try to note down your feedback, and also proceeding from here onwards. The topic assigned to our group has been right and wrong worship, and we have just tried to summarize these 3 verses and the purport based upon this theme. This is the synopsis, and the synopsis is directly the translation by Srila Prabhupada of these 3 mantras. So starting from mantra 12 states that if someone is a demigod worshipper, he will perpetually remain in the darkest region of ignorance. That's very clear. If this condition is true, that person will perpetually remain in the darkest region of ignorance. And the same applies to the worshippers of the impersonal absolute also. And that is even more applicable, and that has been explained in the purport why. What tendencies lead when we worship the impersonal aspect. So first of all, we have to check our intent of worship. Is the object of my worship the supreme cause, the Sambhutam? Then there will be one specific result, and if it's not so, then there will be another result. It's not that yatomat tatopat, the often advertised thing, the very popular thing, yatomat tatopat has been thoroughly refuted in these purports. And this is the synopsis of mantra 14, where we need to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, his name, form, qualities, pastimes, and we also need to know the temporary material creation. And we see this theme is persistent right through Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada purports, and all the lectures we hear from the devotees. So coming again to mantra 12, detailing a bit, the concept described here is Asambhuti, the dependent demigods, the Sambhuti, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in all his 3 features, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan, and mental speculators are also described, and devotees are also described. Now the question arises, why Krishna cannot be known even to the demigods and the great sages? The answer which has been explained is that...
Himanshu, please change the slides. Your slides are not changing.
I will again reshare. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible. And
So-
also kindly put it on the presentation mode.
I think I put it on the presentation mode, then only this. There is some issue.
We can see the slides on the left side sidebar as well as the main slide.
Yeah, I think it's possible that Prabhuji is using two screens. So with that slideshow, it goes to the other screen. I think we are
Yeah.
okay just presenting in this mode, Prabhu, if it helps
Yes,
move
sir.
the
I'm
screen.
sorry. I'm very sorry for that.
No
So
worries.
I will just proceed with where I was in want of time. So mantra 12, coming back to mantra 12, why Krishna cannot be known even by the great demigods? Because unless Krishna reveals himself, it's very difficult. It's really impossible. It's not only difficult, it's impossible unless Krishna reveals. And that happens only by the path of bhakti. And that too, bhakti also is very specific. It's not that I can do whatever comes to my mind in the name of bhakti. I must follow the paths chalked out by the previous acharyas. So one is, again, the path to the realization of the absolute truth. There has to be attempt from my side, but if it is mental speculation, then what will happen? We will simply reach negation. This is not this, this is not this, and the scope is completely limited, and there is no personal connection in that. And if the path is devotional surrender, then we have to accept Sri Krishna's personal form, and then we can realize him as the personality of Godhead. Now, why mental speculation is problematic? Because one reaches only negative conception, and it leads to imagined ideas. And we, at the best, someone is able to reach the Brahman effulgence, and that too is impermanent. That position is not at all stable, and one can fall down from that anytime. And if we take the other path, we surrender to Lord Sri Krishna in full truth with surrender and devotion, then we can know him as the absolute person and understand how everything is emanating from him. Because then Krishna will directly explain us through the parampara, or directly also. So going further, what happens or why someone worships the demigods? It is done by unintelligent and bewildered persons. The motivation is sense gratification, and it brings only temporary relief. If someone is having very very problematic diseases, very, very dangerous diseases, simply doing the patchwork will not help, or simply taking the medicines to treat the symptoms will not help. The disease has to be addressed, and that's what is done in all the bona fide disciplic succession when we worship Krishna as it is taught in Ishopanishad, and that only can grant freedom completely from material bondage, and then only we can go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada, going further in the purport, he explains that some people want to go to higher planetary system, but that is nothing new. Even modern scientists are doing it. Okay, so that should not be our purpose. Even if we worship demigods and try to go to different planets, what will result is we will perpetually remain in darkness. Why? Because this universe itself is dark. If this universe would not have been dark, there would not have been any need of external sun, moon, or electricity in that. So that's why Srila Prabhupada doesn't, he verily condemns. Actually, I was surprised to read the purport because Srila Prabhupada is so bold in these purports. Very, very affirmative, very, very bold. I read it 2-3 times, but I was so happy to read it. Prabhupada can present the truth with so much boldness, which generally people do not do. And if we go further, if we take to the wrong worship, the real problems of life will never be solved, because the materialists want to go to sun and moon, and there also they fight. there also ultimately there will be fight. If somebody goes to moon, there will be the same problems will plague us even if we conquer other planets and all. And pseudo religionists, what is the problem? They are approaching religion only for name, fame, followers, and they maintain the status quo in this material world. We see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam. So these things particularly plague us, labha puja and pratishtha. So pseudo religionists, what they do, they deny the personal form of God, and they themselves claim themselves to incarnation, which is very, very dangerous. That's why they are more condemned. And what further problems, if we compare and contrast the pseudo-religionists with genuine religionists, the pseudo-religionists, they violate the Vedic injunctions, whereas the genuine religionists, they strictly abide by the Guru Sadhu Shastra. The pseudo-religionists, they mislead naive followers. Many times they claim someone to be the personality of Godhead by popular vote, which is very dangerous. Whereas a genuine religionist is firmly grounded in Chaitanya Charitamrita conclusion, Adi Leela, that Ekale Ishware Krishna Arasabhritya. And which is also the same thing is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 7th chapter and 7th verse. Pseudo-religionists, they can be identified. They have a very strong tendency to enjoy fan following and wealth amassed from the followers. Whereas a genuine religionist, this theme can be seen as the definitive trait of his life. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam. A pseudo-religionist, we can see there is neither any knowledge nor any detachment. Whereas those who are genuinely religious, they are rigorously into the cultivation of knowledge and detachment. Fake show bottle spiritualists, they ignore the Vedic injunction. There is no Acharyopasana, no parampara. Whereas for a genuine religionist, Acharyopasana is the life and soul. All these pseudo-religionists, they act immorally under the pretense of religious sentiments, whereas a genuine seeker is protected from these problems because there is a threefold check of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And ultimately, Srila Prabhupada gives very grave warning. Although these people can escape the punishment by the state law because the state itself is like that, they cannot escape the divine punishment. And as per Sri Ishopanishad, most obnoxious place awaits them. And Bhagavad Gita is also telling the same thing. They are cast perpetually into hell. Now coming to Mantra 13. Mantra 13 tells us the thing that we have to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And we side by side, we also need to know the temporary material creation so that there is the positive encouragement, and there is at the negative side also, we keep feeling the heat of this material world so that we can have the impetus to go back to Godhead. In the first paragraph of the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains about the importance of hearing from bona fide sources, and that only can lead to ultimate welfare. And Srila Prabhupada cites so many evidences that why we need to worship the supreme cause. And this conviction that that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be established only when we hear the transcendental message from undisturbed acharyas with faith and love. Srila Prabhupada again compares the spiritual path and the materialistic path. And here Srila Prabhupada is very, very categorical. If we are not rendering service at the level of soul and the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are not watering the root. And all our efforts, medical, social, education, will be utter failure. But what happens in Kali Yuga, they do these things. They themselves promote themselves as Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they do not promote Sri Krishna, and there is mass deception everywhere. So it has become very problematic for pure devotees, but still pure devotees persist and resist these onslaughts of nescience, and they preach. Srila Prabhupada tells that we have to hear directly from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna. And because Upanishads, although they bring us closer to Sri Krishna, they bring us indirectly. And if we do that, all the passion and ignorance, kam, lobha, tatha, is removed. And if there is no devotion, we will perpetually remain in passion and ignorance. And even for devotees, for me, it's Personally, it is very important that if I am not cultivating that by genuinely following, I will be utterly bewildered. Coming to mantra 14, the last one. Here, Srila Prabhupada has explained, first of all, the material illusion versus Vedic reality. And he's telling us that I read a very strong statement. Modern man doesn't like to hear from the Vedas. That is my disease, actually. I was able to identify. I do not want to follow the authority. But Prabhupada again and again mentions this, that we need to follow the authority. We need to hear the Vedas. That is the real solution. Otherwise, this world, right, is what it is, and the same problem is applicable right from the Indragopajan to the first created being, the post of Brahmaji also. That's why it is called Mrityulok. And then Srila Prabhupada describes the three energies of the Supreme Lord from Vishnu Puran, the Mrityuloka, the spiritual nature, which is the Tripad Vibhuti, and the material world, which is the Ekpad Vibhuti. And again, we cannot enter into the spiritual realm by our own efforts of karma, jnana, and yoga. The only path is unalloyed devotion to Sri Krishna. So this is what I will just conclude in want of time, and this is the last verse also. I will like to read the last one. We must therefore save ourselves and our fellow man in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from repeated birth and death, we must take to the devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise, for this is a matter of necessity. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I will just stop and I will try to note down your feedback so that I can improve it further. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I like your use of flowcharts and tables to explain things. They come through very clearly. And you're right, Prabhupada's purports are amazing. And then the mantras, of course, carry the deep philosophical message, and Prabhupada's purports makes them accessible to us. And that's why they can be relished so much. So thank you for pointing that out and experiencing it yourself. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we can switch to group 6 and we can do a Q&A in the end.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'm just trying to. Do I share the whole screen? I think whole screen. Okay.
Does Rup Raghunath Prabhuji also have the slides?
Yeah, I'm going to share. I
Sure.
opened it first. I just didn't know. Okay, so where is my? Okay, so I'm gonna share. I think I'm sharing my thing. That's mine. Okay, let me see. Can you see, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So today our topic is mantra 15 to 18. But before we begin the assigned mantras, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude for Isha Upanishad. My heart is completely moved by the knowledge of Sri Isha Upanishad. I feel that this knowledge of Isha Upanishad is so important and should be taught and made mandatory for every human being. Because it begins with and it teaches us how to earn a pious living, knowing who who is the proprietor of everything, and accepting only those things which are necessary for our sustenance. And there is a guidance on how to perform the right action towards the right objective, which is Krishna, with carefully avoiding the material illusions or the culture of nuisance. We also learned about the most wonderful qualities of the Supreme Lord. And then it also teaches how to develop a spiritual vision by seeing all the living entities as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, a devotee should endeavor to learn perfectly about the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, his transcendental names, his forms, qualities, and pastimes. And by such hearing and chanting, when a devotee makes a sincere attempt for knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee develops a strong love for the Lord, and he desires to see the Lord face to face. And with this desire, the verses number 14 and 15 begin with the desire to see the Lord face to face. So mantra 15 says that, "O my Lord, you are the sustainer of all that lives. Your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee." So in the last four mantras of Ishopanishad, this prayerful mood of a devotee is reflected. And the pure devotee is offering his sincere, heartfelt prayers to the Lord to kindly bestow his causeless mercy upon him and remove the glazing golden effulgence that covers his beautiful and the beautiful face and transcendental body. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that this Brahman Jyoti effulgence that covers the Lord form are the rays that illuminate from the Lord's transcendental body. The same is also explained in Bhagavad Gita 14.27 as well as Brahma Samhita. Going deeper to understand this Brahma Jyoti, let's first understand the three aspects of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. We also learn these three aspects in Bhagavad Gita, with first one as Brahman, which is the infinite and the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. It is often described as a spiritual light or energy that pervades everything. And the next in the hierarchy is the Paramatma, Paramatma aspect of the Lord, which refers to the localized aspect of the absolute supreme truth residing within the heart of every living being. It is often called the super soul and is considered the source of consciousness and individual existence. Third, and the most supreme aspect of the absolute truth is his Bhagavan form. This represents the complete personal aspect of the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is full, it is all attractive form. It possesses all the opulences, it possesses all the, and it also engages in all the loving exchanges with the devotee. So in this mantra, the Lord is called as sustainer of everything because this is, he sustains everything in his Bhagavan form. So next, we in the purport we learn that this golden effulgence that comes from the Lord's transcendental body is understood by most transcendentalists as the light of all lights. And sometimes the transcendentalists reach to this Brahman Jyoti, Brahman realization, and they feel that this is all that is about. But from Ishopanishad, we see that there is the Lord is beyond the light that comes from his body. So in the spiritual world, there is no need for sunlight, moonshine, or fire or electricity for illumination. And whatever illumination which appears in the material world is the reflection of the supreme illumination that comes from the Lord's transcendental body. The same supreme Brahman effulgence spread throughout both the material and the spiritual skies. The impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glazing effulgence of the Brahma Jyotir. But if one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence of the Lord. So this impersonal feature of the Lord is under the control of his personal Satchit Anand form. And the next verse is verse number 16, which says that, "O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, the unto the Son as I am, as am I." So here in this mantra, we recently studied Bhagavad Gita, and I want to relate mantra number 16 with Bhagavad Gita as to how the devotee's realization match with how the Lord revealed his qualities in Bhagavad Gita. So in this mantra, the sweet Lord is glorified with the following qualities, such as, "O primeval philosopher." And in Bhagavad Gita 15.50, Krishna says that by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. So we know that there is no greater philosophy that is available beyond Vedas. So Lord Shri Krishna, he is the compiler as well as the knower as well as the goal of Vedas. Next, Krishna is addressed as, "O maintainer of the universe." And Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Krishna says that, "With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and maintain the entire universe." And O regulating principle, Bhagavad Gita 7.7, Krishna says that everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. And the next quality is that he is the destination of all the pure devotees. And in Bhagavad Gita 9.25, Krishna says that those who worship me, they live with me eternally in my spiritual abode. And the next one is that Krishna is the well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna declares himself that in 5.29, that I am the benefactor and the well-wisher of all living entities. Next. These two prayers, 15 and 16, are almost identical, and they in which the devotee is praying to the Supreme Lord to please remove his effulgence. In the last two mantras, this has been repeated 4 times, requesting the Lord to kindly remove, to kindly reveal, to remove the rays and to contain his effulgence. From Bhayari Prabhuji's slides, I understood that this repetition is in Shastra is used as an ornament for the emphasis of the complete, as an ornament to emphasize very important points. And also it shows the complete dependence of the jiva onto the Lord. The devotee knows well that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And he is reminding the Lord that that the devotee is his that he has an eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And in the material world, when there is a relationship like a son and the father, the son becomes qualified to receive the favor, affection, and the property of his father. Similarly, the devotee expresses his qualification to see the Lord, saying that he is of the same quality as the Lord, and I belong to your family, O my Lord. Next slide, Mataji. And so in this prayerful mood, the devotee uses the analogy that just as a sun and its rays are one and the same in quality, similarly, the Lord and the living entity are one and same in quality. In verse 15 and 16, it shows that it shows the intense longing and eagerness is needed to experience the Supreme Lord in a particular way. In these verses, the devotee has intense desire to see the Lord's beautiful face, face to face. And Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on this point that if one develops this lollyam or the excessive eagerness for meeting and serving the Lord in a particular way, that is the price that is needed to enter into the kingdom of God. Otherwise, there is no material calculation for the value of the ticket by which one can enter the kingdom of God. So the only price for such entrance is the lollyam, lalsamai, or the desire and the great eagerness. It is stated in Nectar of Devotion. And in these verses, the devotee is expressing that intense desire and love to see the Lord face to face. Verses 17 and 18 will be covered by Kunti Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so thank you for letting our group 6 share, and I feel blessed to have just amazing verses from Ishopanishad. And so I want to start with the invocation. Purnamada Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. The personality of the Godhead is perfect and complete, and he is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So, and with blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Bayari Prabhu's blessings, I'm going to start the presentation. Probably is the last presentation that I will have in this class. So, Ishavasya Upanishad, the Isha Upanishad is Ishavasya Upanishad. The Ishavasya is, Isha means the Lord of the universe. It's the first Upanishad. And so these are all mantras. So Manatrayati iti mantra. So they protect our mind. They make us understand the truth. And I echo Saradi Mataji's words that it shook my foundation. This whole Ishopanishad has shaken my foundation too. And I have expressed my deepest gratitude to Bhayari Prabhu for this exposure that I wouldn't have really gone and opened this book in my lifetime. And so what wonderful gems that have been made available by your grace and Srila Prabhupada's teaching. So very blessed to be a part of ISKCON community. So we start with mantra 17 here. Vayur nilamam vrutam medam vasmatam shariram om krutosmaram krutam smaram karosmara krutam smara. So let this temporary body be burned to ashes and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. So the vital forces in me. So basically, this is the deathbed of the devotee. And so we are praying to Lord Krishna that the vital forces in me are about to merge in the immortal prana, the cosmic energy. Then this mortal body shall be reduced to ashes. So the Panchamahabhuta will return back to, to where they came from, the reservoir. So remember the good deeds done throughout the life remember. So that's why it said Krute Smaram, it's repeated again. So deeds, please remember, please remember. Now may my breath return to all pervading immortal prana. It echoes the Bhagavad Gita's verse 8.7, which says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha Maya Arpita Mano Buddhi Mam Evaishasya Asamshaya. So therefore, at times of death, at all times, I have to think of Lord Krishna. We have to think of me. Krishna says, think of me continuously and also fight in your mind and heart. If your mind and heart are fixed in me, you will undoubtedly attain me only. And like we all know that the soul is immortal. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita na bhuya ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain even when the body is slain. Anything which has taken birth will die. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc. of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. So the so-called old man, and as I'm feeling getting older too, that we still stay in the same spirit as we were in our childhood. So the changes of the body do not affect our soul. The illusory energy of the Lord, the Maya. So he says that Bhavesmin Krishyamaham avidya kama karma bhi shravana smaranamani karishyamiti kechana. So the Lord, however, out of his causeless mercy appears before us and gives us the principles of devotional service, which comprise of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, cooperating, and surrendering unto him. He helps a conditioned soul get out of the tangle of Maya and thus become liberated from all material sufferings created by this illusory energy. And as we know, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Devi Rusha Gunamai Mama Maya Durataya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Mitam Tarantite. So this divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, the goodness, passion, and the tamas, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross the ocean of life. We are here because of our own desire for existence. We satisfy our desires through our own families, our friends sometimes. So the material nature forces the living entity to again change the body. We can have desires for sattvic, tamasic, or rajasic things. So because of the different desires, some desires for sense gratification, we again come back and repeat the cycle of birth and death. The spiritual spark, which is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is the same whether he is in the body of a hog or in the body of a demigod. The living entity takes on different bodies according to his pious and vicious activities. Krishna is Rasovaisa, Rasame Evam, Labdavanandi Bhavati. So when one understands personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, which is Krishna, he actually becomes transcendentally, one can become transcendentally blissful, as says in Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7.1. Devotional service to the Lord, like we all know, is by hearing about the Lord, glorifying the Lord, remembering the Lord, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, worshipping the Lord, offering prayers to the Lord, serving the Lord, enjoying friendly association with the Lord, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 principles of devotional service, taken all together or one by one, helps the devotee remain constantly in touch with the God. The pure devotees, I'm glorifying pure devotees here. Maharaj Parikshit, he asked the main question to Sukadeva Goswami is, what is the duty of every man specifically at the time of death? And so everyone who desires to be free from all anxieties should always hear about, glorify, and remember the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme director of everything, the extinguisher of all difficulties, and super soul of all living entities. So, Bayari Prabhu, did I just finish 10 minutes now or 20 are finished already?
It's 20 minutes for the group as a whole. You're halfway through. Maybe if you can take another 5 minutes and summarize.
Okay. So just I was glorifying the pure devotees, but I can just show this picture. So Of course, Arjuna, Prahlad Maharaj, Hanuman ji, Ranti Deva, Gajanan, and then this is for Akrura prayers. And then here we have Brahmadev's prayers, Vaman. So this is Bali Maharaj's, Akrura's, Kunti Mata's prayers, Gopis, and here is Lakshmi Mata. So these are all pure devotees of the Lord. Lastly, mantra 18, really fast. अग्नेनय सुपतराय अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वायुनानि विद्वान् युध्योय अस्मज्युरानि इनो भूयिस्थितां ते नाम uktim videma. So, my Lord, as powerful as fire as you are, and I offer all my obeisances to you, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I have done in the past, present, that I continue to do, please free me from my reactions of my past, present, and future, so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. So the mantra 18 will continue to talk about our things that we have done with this body. Our body, if it has been of restless nature, motivating incessant actions that we have done. And so everything that we have thought and ever done, we offer it all to Krishna. Rai means wealth. Here the wealth is the virtuous wealth, that this doesn't talk about material wealth. Supata is the good path. We are all following a virtuous path here. We have natural inclination towards the path of bhakti here. And so we are very blessed to have association of Vaishnavas here. Vishwani Deva, it talks about Vishwani is the Lord of the world. So here the worshipper recognizes that the fellow worshippers may be addressing the same Lord, but by different names. And so everyone is accepted. There is no differentiation of religion, caste, creed, or any other distinctions. These are finally the prayers of mercy. So we pray that, to the all-pervading immortal, this prana and all the five Panchamahabhutas return back. And we pray for self-realization by surrendering to the Lord and praying for His mercy, causeless mercy. We progress on this path of self-realization. The Lord is addressed as fire because ultimately fire will burn and make everything pious. Self-realization is possible only in human form. We all have crossed 84 lakh birth species to acquire this form of human existence. And so we have to make the best of this. With finally reaching some Krishna consciousness in ISKCON, we have to keep on trudging this path. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. So Krishna has promised us that if we surrender, Hari Bhakti Vilas does talk about Anukulena Sankalpa Pratikulasya Vajraham. So we know that, all of us know that. So finally, devotion to Krishna is primary. We surrender everything to Krishna. Our spiritual master is who brings us closer to Krishna and the Vaishnava's blessings. So if we take shelter of our bona fide spiritual master, we can understand and obtain the grace of our master and the Lord. And we can be guided with full strength to reach our final destination. So final last Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mataji. And I can completely empathize on the difficulty in presenting so much nectar in such a short period of time. So this last set of verses, they're especially dear to the devotees because they demonstrate complete surrender to the Lord. Earlier set of verses were more analytical, talking about qualities to be developed and not. But then finally, the supplicant simply says that all that is neither necessary nor sufficient. And the mercy of the Lord is what is actually needed. So it resonates a lot with the mood of those who are following the Vaishnav path. Okay, so thank you everyone in the groups. All the presentations were very well done. Looking at the presentations, it's in terms of the source of the presentations, I get the sense there is a bit of a mixed bag, that there are some presentations that have been done exclusively based on the purport of Srila Prabhupada, and there are some presentations that have been done based on the lectures. Both are okay, essentially because the lectures are also based on Prabhupada's purport. The lectures are also based on the lectures given by, so these are the lectures, these are based on the VIHE set of lectures on his Upanishad, which embellish further the points that are given in Prabhupada. So for those of you who have not had the time to hear the lectures, I would recommend that you do so, just because they bring forth a little bit more of the subtlety, especially in the first set of verses that are very philosophical. Prabhupada's purports are deep from preaching perspective. Bhakti Shastri, in addition to that, also focuses on structure and flow. Right? So the categorization of the verses, how they relate to one another, how Vidya and Avidya relate to Sambhuti and Asambhuti. So those points are specifically made in the VIHE study of the Upanishad, which I've also tried to emphasize on. So we have, I'm guessing, around 20 minutes left. I'll open it up for little less than 30 minutes left. So I'll open it up for any discussions, questions, comments.
So, Bayari Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, I have one question that, I always, we try to chant and stay in the mode of goodness, and, we try, but we have Rajasic and Tamasic, attributes sometimes. So how do you work towards figuring out the last minute of death, we will have good thoughts in our mind and not have negative thoughts? So what do you recommend, we really do for those final moments, which we never know when they will come?
Thank you, Mataji. A very nice and practical question. So scripturally, as it is said, it's a little, it does, death is a somber subject, and meditating too much upon it is little against the nature of us, because the soul does not have any experience with death. So thinking too much of death is against the nature of the soul. From a practical perspective, Srila Prabhupada says that death can come at any moment. And once Prabhupada was in a plane, and it hit an air pocket, and it fell like several thousands of feet. It fell. And Prabhupada was there in the business class, and the devotees were there in the economy class. So literally, for a moment, everybody thought that they're gone. The plane actually fell several thousands of feet. So anyway, the plane stabilized, and the devotees went and said, "Prabhupada, are you okay?" And Prabhupada was sitting and chanting, and he said, "Yes, I'm okay." And then he stops, pauses for a moment, and then he said, "That is the nature of death. It can come at any time." So one of the coverings of Maya Devi is, so none of us ever think that we are immortal, because we know it, that everybody is going to die, right? Nobody will say that I'll never die. But we all think that we will not die today, we'll die tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll think that we'll die tomorrow. Right? So that is a de facto submission of immortality. As in Mahabharata, there is this pastime that a Brahmin comes to Yudhishthira saying that, "Can you give me some donation?" And Yudhishthira was busy in the affairs of the kingdom, and he said, "You come tomorrow." and I'll give it to you. So when Bhimsen heard that, so he went to the main, there is a bell in the courtyard of the palace for making important announcements. So he went and started ringing it very loudly, and everybody rushed because it was one of those super emergency kind of bells. So they said, "What's going on, Bhima?" So what's going on, Bhima? So Bhima says, "I have a very important announcement to make." What is it? He says that my brother Yudhishthir is immortal. So Yudhishthir says that, "What are you saying? I'm not immortal." He says, "No, I just heard you tell the Brahmin that you come tomorrow asking for alms, which means that you're sure that you will live tomorrow." And so every day we think that we will live tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. So in a way, Mayadevi tricks us that way, that while we accept the theoretical concept of immortality, but practically we consider ourselves to be immortal. And the whole process of sadhana Vedi bhakti, which is our adhikar right now, is essentially to train us to think of Krishna at all points of time. It's like yam yam vapi smaran vap, that whatever you think at the time of death, that's what you will attain. If you think of Krishna, you will attain Krishna's form. So once a devotee said that, "Why don't I just lead a life full of enjoyment and think of Krishna at the time of death?" Right? And Guru Maharaj, so question to Guru Maharaj, and he answered that you should consider your life like punching numbers in a calculator, 2 + 3 + 5 - 8 + 7. And at the time of death, you press equal to. And that's the number that you get, right? So you can't say that in my life, I'm enjoying here, spending time over there, eating meat, having intoxication. And then at the time of death, I will think of Krishna. Because all that numbers that you punched in the calculator, they will be the one that will be the result at the time of death. And different times Prabhupada gives different examples that the mind becomes bewildered. And Bhagavatam, there's a more graphic description of what the body experiences at the time of death. So essentially it goes to what it has trained itself to be its safety net. So if we train ourselves to be our safety net, like if we chant with concentration, we follow the rules and regulations of sadhana Vedi bhakti. Those are designed to increase our Krishna consciousness, which means that our consciousness will automatically be there to towards Krishna at the end of our life. We don't have to do anything special to plan for the end of life. The rules and regulations that we have been given, the do's and don'ts that we have been given, they all are designed to automatically put us in that consciousness that will take us back to Godhead. Sorry for the long reply. Your question was very nice. So
No, thank you so much.
thank you for the question. Okay, anything else? Okay, if you don't have any questions, we can stop over here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantapati Vaishnavind ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
So before we leave, Rup Raghunath Prabhu, what's the agenda for next week?
Yes, Prabhuji, we will be starting with the NOI, Nectar of Instructions, and we will be starting with your class for the introduction and preface.
Okay.
Following that, we will have the group presentations for all the remaining verses. So next week is your class, Prabhuji.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.